So in midsummer 1973, Milton Friedman received a very pointed letter from a reader he did not know. So in live streaming and punditry, in the world of gurus, particularly right-wing gurus, it seems to be all about relationships, right? People don't want to disturb important relationships or people who are in the same, basic political orientation as you. You don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to say anything critical, right? And Milton Friedman tried to restrain his public criticism of Arthur Burns, and then Friedman received a pointed letter. You used to flagellate the Federal Reserve for its misdeeds, and you had good reason. But the reasons you have had since 1969 have been far more compelling. So that's when Arthur Burns took over the Federal Reserve. Yet for the most part, you have remained silent and diplomatic. The letter prompted a reckoning of sorts. Mea culpa, Milton Friedman pleaded in response. Arthur Burns is a revered former teacher of mine, one of my closest personal friends for 40 years, also a man for whose character and ability I have tremendous admiration. So Friedman had always worshipped and venerated Burns, continuing to treat him with deference even as his career transformed them into equals. But Arthur Burns perpetually regarded Friedman as some sort of overgrown undergraduate, which is pretty much how Dennis Prager regarded me when he was asked about me in the Jewish Journal of Los Angeles. And he said, oh, he was never a friend nor a student. I think at one time I might have had some positive influence on his life, but I don't know, which is very different than what he used to tell people in 1991, 92, 93 in letters that, oh, anyone who's a friend of Luke Ford's is a friend of mine. So I kind of grasp and identify with this sense of betrayal, both by Arthur Burns and by Milton Friedman. So even though they were really equals, Arthur Burns perpetually regarded Milton Friedman as some sort of overgrown undergraduate, not someone with whom meaningful ideas could alter his own. He may have even perversely resisted Milton Friedman's advice, his former students' advice, just to keep the hierarchy intact. Right? People like to keep hierarchies intact. If you're a fan, right, it's very hard to move from fan to anything else. So Dennis Prager met one of his closest friends, someone who became one of his closest friends, Dr. Stephen Marmer, when Dennis went to see Stephen Marmer for marriage therapy, I believe. And Stephen Marmer said in his first session, look, I don't want to be your shrink. I'd rather be your friend. And so Marmer sent him to another therapist, and he became good friends with Prager. So why is it that if our friendship becomes unbalanced, right, it often tends to dissolve? Because people identify with each other, and we tend to act collectively, right, because we have common beliefs, we have common goals, we have common concerns, and we have common enemies. Right? People who vote for a political party or cheer for a particular sports team or go to a particular church, right, do so there because they identify with that team or party or church. So when I converted to Judaism, it was experienced by everyone I'd grown up with in Seventh-day Adventist Church as a great betrayal, and it just made absolutely no sense. It was as though I was flipping a middle finger to everything that they held sacred, and any possibility of continued friendship was dissolved. So we all naturally strive for these kind of larger identifications.